Hello guys. In this video, I want to talk about today. A few months ago, I made a video in reference to how um, these younger men who really have not even really experienced life, are being kind of the mouthpiece and forefront to a lot of angry, bitter older men who have, ruined their chances and ruined their life and their time with their family, with their children that they have made, with their, the women in their lives and, possibly jobs and all these things. And they're just spewing hate and rhetoric for these men because, a lot of these men, older men especially, are the ones who are on these podcasts and who are making these angry, bitter, it seems like the older they are, the angrier they are, about women and relationships and things like that. And, even in that video that I made, um, I talked about how sad it is. I talked about just how sad it is because at the end of the day, what these young men don't understand is that these older men have lived their lives. Like these older men they've done and experienced things that you all have not experienced. And so they're ultimately speaking out of their experiences, their life, their choices. Um and it's just so sad because at the end of the day, men don't like to hear stuff like this, but they are pretty gullible. A lot of these men are pretty gullible, old, young, middle aged, they're gullible, you know. I know they like to think that they're logical, and women are emotional, and it's just even that right there is so silly because women are logical, and women are emotional, men are logical, men are emotional. I mean, like we have all of those things inside of us. Like it's not a, if there is a woman that's going around that's just pure emotion, she will probably wind up in some type of mental hospital because you just can't live like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's impossible for women to just be emotional, and it's so sad and once again gullible for a man to even think that women are just one big ball of emotion and they're just all logical. And I mean, we see it every day: men killing, men, men committing, unaliving people, men not being able to control their anger, men, you know, just not thinking and doing irrational, emotional things, you know. So I want to start with a little. I'm going to go back a little bit on this video, and I'm going to tell you all a very recent little story that's going to lead into um, what I'm talking about, Um, so I re met up with a person who I had, and it's so funny because I hadn't even realized how long it had been. Um, it's been probably at least a year, maybe going on 2 years that he and I spoke. And so um, this was a very handsome young man, younger than me. And it really, in my opinion, didn't even really get off the ground to me, you know. But he seemed to, think, and when we re met up, he was talking about, he wanted me back and, let's get back together and all that. And it's like, I didn't even know we was really like that, So, but anyway, um, long story short, you know how guys are when they come back, all of them come back at least in my situation, and that's not bragging or anything. It's probably true for most women, that they all come back. And so he was very confessant, if that's a word. He was confessing, I don't think that's a word, I just made that up. He was very open this time. He was very just telling me things that he thought that I didn't know about him. I had already figured it out. Um, and he told me about being bipolar, which I didn't figure that out, but I knew something was going on with him, you know. And also a learning disability. He said that he had. Um, and just you know other things I guess that he was going through at that time or whatever, because actually what happened is that ultimately dude kind of just ghosted me, you know um and yeah, that was pretty much it. And so um we talked a little bit, maybe a day or two, and I decided I didn't want to deal with it, so I blocked and deleted. But here's the thing. Here's the real truth of the matter. I did not, although he will probably think different. I did not block him because of no learning disability. I didn't block him because of no bipolar, even though I know that that's something that I don't want to deal with, is no bipolar, because I've dealt with that with my daughter's father and whatever else he had. I'm just not set up, like my emotions, my mind, just me as a person. I'm not set up to deal with a person who's bipolar. And that is not me being insensitive. That's me being honest and true and loving myself enough to keep myself out of a situation like that, because the change of emotions and the up and down, and I personally can't deal with that. It makes me too nervous. It makes me walk on eggshells. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I dealt with that, and it was a really, really bad time in my life dealing with my daughter's father with that, and the other stuff that he had. So that is not a slight against anyone who has a polar or anything like that. That's me, like I said, knowing and learning to love myself, um, and that I can't deal with it. So, but that wasn't even the reason. That wasn't even the reason. Um, the reason that I really did not want to deal with him anymore was, at that time, he was really into these podcasters, and he was really trying to like hide it, but in his talk, these points and stuff that, because I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but all of these guys, no matter what age they are, when they listen to the same podcasters, these Kevin Samuels, of course, because that Kevin Samuels wasn't even dead when I was, talking to him. So he was very much into him. Uh, and this, the Manafort stuff, the red pill stuff, I guess fresh and fit, and all these other ones that spew the crap that they spew. Um, he was very he they all speak the same stuff. They all say the same stuff. I mean, they speak in percentages. They speak in um, very definite facts. Like they speak in definitely. This is what women do. This is what men do. And so it's the pattern of speaking that they have, that you know where their mind is, and I don't even think they realize it. I don't think they realize either that a lot of people are on to them and they can hear this rhetoric. You know what I'm saying? So, and I really don't think they do, because I think they're so caught up in their ego, and they're trying to spew out these facts, and trying to be right, and, trying to, I don't know, I guess they're impressed with themselves. I don't know. But anyway, um, I, s- I saw that he was into that, and I heard the way he talked and everything, and he would say stuff about, you know, Kevin Samuels, and so I know that he listened to him and everything, and that he admired him, and that he was very um, down on women, but he would try to make it jokey. He had a really good sense of humor, I do have to say. Not necessarily about that, but he had a really he made me laugh a lot, and that's an awesome trait. And so he um he would say these things about women, and it began to be more and more, where it wasn't just stuff like, basically women don't need to talk, women don't need to speak, whatever. And he would say this stuff jokingly, like I'm saying. And then he started talking about, hitting women and slapping women and lining women up and hitting them and slapping all this kind of stuff. And at first, and I think I've told this before, but at first, it was, I just heard it and kind of laughed it off a little bit. But then I started, maybe after two, three times and him saying it, I was like, that's not really funny, what you're saying. And of course he would say I was blowing it out of proportion. I'm thinking too much, and he just playing, and I wouldn't really do that, and blah blah blah. But he still kept saying it, still kept joking about it, and well, like I said, I continued to call him out on it, because, like I said, I don't think that stuff is funny. But at the end of the day, that is why I blocked and deleted, honestly, because yeah, because I remembered how he talked. You know what I'm saying? And you can say I held that against him. You can say, whatever. But I'm so serious in being adamantly against Kevin Samuels' manosphere and all these different teachings, because I know that those teachings do breed violence uh, against women. I know that they do, you know. Um, and so, yeah, that was that. But the point that I wanted to make is that, like I said, he's a young man, you know, and he'd never been married. He didn't, matter of fact, he didn't have any children. And so to be spewing out the kind of hate and rhetoric that he was spewing out about women and relationships, and all of this kind of stuff, it's like it was so sad and silly to me. And I used to try to talk to him about it and whatever, but like I say, he was on that, Kevin Samuels and them um uh tip, to where he didn't even want to listen to me. Like, I'm a man, you don't know what you're talking about. And because I remember one time, it was the silliest, most childish, immature thing. He called me one day, and I noticed he did it a lot, but he called me this day, and I noticed it. And he kept, he just kept talking, talking, talking. And it's like every time I began to talk or say, he would talk over me. And it was so obvious. It's like he was doing it on purpose. And I'm like, why? I asked myself, why did you call me if you're just going to keep talking? And every time I attempt to talk, like, you purposely talk over me. Why are you doing that? That's very childish. Um, and he really didn't have an answer. He was just doing something. You know, I don't think a lot of these young men have an answer. Um, they're just doing stuff. They're doing stuff that they hear. They're doing stuff that these other men are saying. You know, let's take the guy. Very, I haven't done a whole video on that past bros and the guy who got caught and all that stuff. Their leader. Um, but I will say, it's so fascinating to me how this man was so young, 23 years old, and all of these dudes following him. And I've seen some of the dudes on TikTok and all these other social media platforms holding up their fake passports. Um, these are older men. Like these are middle-aged men. I mean, some of them are young or whatever, but these are men who should not be following a 23-year-old. You know, it's just like I would say, what are y'all thinking? But it's pretty obvious that they really don't think because they're just listening to each other. It's really seriously like men versus women right now. That's really what it's like. And the guys are not, some of them, because some of them are listening. But there's a huge majority that's just like they're not even trying to think logically. It's just, well, whatever the woman say, nope, we against it. You know, oh, a girl said, nope, and it's just like it's sad. It's sad because at the end of the day, so many of them are going to be just like him, wanting a good woman back who they lost. And she's not going to be interested. You know, if she has any good sense, she won't be interested, you know. And I'm not advocating not giving people another chance. Me personally, though, that's just really not something I've done in my life. I've never really done the, keep going back, getting back together type thing. I've never done that. I did it with my daughter's father, but I think there was some other extenuating circumstances as to why I was doing that. But nevertheless, that was the one and last only time ever before or after that ever happened. I've never gone back. You know, once it's done and over, I'm done and over and I'm finished with it. And so it's sad because what's going on out here right now today, I feel like a lot of these young men are not even going to have a chance. Like for real, like they're some of these young men, 22, 23 years old, even babies, you know, are so indoctrinated with this foolishness until I don't even think a lot of them are even going to be able to get into good healthy relationships unless they get deprogrammed. And I do mean deprogrammed because some of them are so into this, you know. I was saying the other day, I was saying the other day, I was just thinking, and I said, if these older men that I see spewing most of this stuff were active in these young men's lives and their children's lives to the extent that they're um, putting out all this hate and getting these young men's attention and these teenage boys attention and causing them to change and act like them and be against women and argue and fight and throw out statistics and all, and it's just like if they put that much effort into being active and positive in these young men's lives and not spewing their hate and their bad relationships and their bad judgments and their bad um, the issues and stuff that they are going through, they could probably make some really good change. Like and especially right now when men have each other's ears, like men just right now are not listening to women, and it's like I say, it's sad. But if they put that type of intensity in telling these young men that, yeah, I lived my life. Yeah, I made mistakes. Yeah, I might have picked some women that were not good enough for me, or maybe I picked some good women and I went out and cheated. I went out and, you know, did whatever that I did, you know. But at the end of the day, I can't sit here and keep blaming other people for the choices and mistakes that I made. I can't even you can't even blame the women because everybody is responsible for themselves, the way they react, what they do, what they get into, like all of that. And so if it was more of a taking accountability and being responsible for their own actions instead of all women bitches and all these hoes ain't da 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 da. And yeah, these women out here just so and so, and these modern women. And blah, blah. I'm trying to figure out or how is it we're modern women and they're not modern men, and we all in the same time? Because if the implication is that they're the same and women are the ones that have changed, because I really think that that is a part of their what they're thinking, sadly. um, it just shows more of how off that they are. Women are changing. If women are doing any changing, it's in response to what the men are doing and the way the men are acting. And also women's own self-love, also women's own self-realization. All I mean, people change. Period. People change. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not necessarily bad and negative. You know, um, I wish they would change more. You know what I'm saying? I think it's so, whew, it's so delusional. I just have to use the word. You know, it's so delusional for these men to really and truly keep thinking that they can go back and they can be have the 1940s and 50s and the stay-at-home mom, and she cooks and she cleans, and I made a video about that too. I made a video about the fact that these men don't really want that. Like seriously and really and truly, they're saying this stuff because I think they probably know and feel like they're never gonna get it. So it's an easy argument for them to keep on making. Oh well, women don't want this and women do that, and these modern women. Yeah, well, it's easy to say that because you know that women are rebelling against staying home and cooking and you know. Not working and having a man with complete control over them and all, And so it's an easy argument for them to keep saying that they won't, when in reality, those men don't want that. I mean, those men don't even want to pay bills. Like they don't want to pay bills. They want a woman to go half and everything with them. So where are all these men? All you keep hearing about today is, well, if I pay all the bills and if the man's paying all of the bills, I would love some statistics on that, on men that are out here, first of all, paying all the bills. Like that is crazily the first thing that so many of them lead with. And it's just like, it's crazy because why even lead with that? Because it's not a realistic starting point because it ain't happening. You know what I'm saying? Just the fact that we are in a time right now where things are so super expensive. Like, what do you call it? The rent, the inflation, groceries at the store, like all of this stuff is going up. You got gas going up. I mean, everything is going up. How are you going to, by yourself, long term, be able to support not only a wife, but possible children? One baby, one baby increases the amount of expenses a man and a woman has. Now, start bringing two and three of them in there. It's too hard. And so that whole concept of a man paying all the bills and a woman staying home like we're not even in that world no more. That's really what I'm trying to say. We're not in that world where that is, especially the way that it was back then, it's not needed or necessary. And the fact that women have seen that. They've seen the grandmothers, they've seen the moms, they've seen what happens when a woman doesn't have money. They've seen what happened when she don't have a bank account, when she don't have a car, when she don't have freedom, when she don't. I mean, come on. We know what happened. We see what happened. The men completely crap on them. Go outside, cheat, get other families and everything. And what's crazy about it is they do that anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like even if they wasn't stay at home, take care of all this 1940, 1950, they would still be cheating anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because if you listen to the concept of it, a lot of these men keep talking about I'm paying all the bills and then go out and cheat and actually really feel like that is a part of the deal. Like they really feel like that is my right because I'm taking care of you or because I can do like once again, I don't understand. I don't understand the reasoning behind that because still, if that's what you want to do and if that's what you want to keep going out being, acting like a single man that you're not married and you don't have children, or why did you get married in the first place? Like especially now, like we're not in a time where marriage is pushed on people. I don't even know if the churches right now are pushing marriage. Like I don't know, maybe they are, but I'm just saying, like I don't get the reasoning behind that concept that if I take care of you, I can go out and sleep with who I want to and cheat. Like I don't understand that when you could just not have been with this woman and these children anyway. Like you're going out making all these different families. I don't get it. Why? Because you're at the end of the day you're not going to be able to take care of all these families. If you are taking care of a singular wife and children or whatever, let's say you're able to do that, you going out making other families and you got other women in the neighborhood and children and all these stepbrothers and little stepsisters and stuff that don't even know each other. They all living down the street from each other, women mad, they want to fight each other. It's crazy. It is so crazy. And somebody is getting pushed to the side. A lot of them, I'm quite sure, getting pushed to the side. Do y'all know? Um, I saw in the news recently, Mariah Carey is going for full custody of her and Nick Cannon's children because her argument is that he got so many kids that there is no way he can divide his time into all of these children. And so she's suing for full custody. I haven't I think I might have saw maybe a week or so ago, so I have not, like seen a follow up or anything like that. But I mean, it makes sense. Especially with her, it ain't like she can't take care of her own kids. You know what I'm saying? It's sad for the kids, and but like I say, so many of these men really don't think. Like they really don't think. I mean, it has to be more there than just not wanting to wear a condom. It has to be more there than it gotta be. It has to be something here that makes them do what they do. But I'm not. This is not the video to even try to. I can't understand it. But at the end of the day, you know, the story that I just told you guys about, with the guy, wanting me back, and I'm not saying that at all to brag. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is that he, as a young man, is going to be so many men like him, because they spew this hate, they spew this rhetoric, they spew all of the stuff that they hear just to argue, really, because they have no facts or whatever to stand up and make their point, how could they? Like if you don't have a wife, you've never been married, you've never many of them have never even been in a serious relationship. So how can you say really anything about women? How can you say anything? Like the closest woman to you is your mom and your sisters and what like yeah, that you can't speak on women or relationships when you ain't had one. And when you haven't gotten yourself out there and given yourself 100%, you can't say all women shit. You can't say all women are bitches, hoes, whatever. Like you can't even say that if you have not seriously and honestly, with your whole heart and mind, really put yourself out there to make a relationship work. Like, and so it's I, I I think it's something that we're going to start seeing more because you have more women who are just like they completely done. They out of the game. They all of that, and they are showing that they don't need men and relationships and all this kind of stuff in the sense that it's not worth it. That's what I'm talking about. In the sense that it's not worth it. It's like it's not worth it to put yourself out there. It's not worth it to even try to put yourself out there for no relationship to even, because of everything that's going on. And so, yeah, a lot of women have just taken themselves completely out. They're working on themselves, you know. Um, and I think more and more men are going to start seeing that. They're going to see that women aren't playing. They're going to really, at the end of the day, after you've sat here and listened to all these podcasters, and after you sit here and believe the rhetoric and believe the hype and listen to all of this and spew this stuff yourself, like what do you have? Like when you're in your home, when you're in your bed at night, lonely, desiring a woman, wanting a relationship, and you know you do. I'm like, who you gonna have? Like, you can't call up Fresh and Fit and be like, man, look here, I just need to talk. You can't call them. You can't call. You certainly can't call KS. You certainly can't call him. But it's gonna be like, what was the reason for putting all that toxicity in you when at the end of the day you still know you want a relationship? Just like dude with me. You still want a relationship. You still want a woman. I sat there and listened to this dude talk about, the time we had, the time we spent, and and it's crazy because like dude remember every detail. Like I didn't even know who he was for real. He had to make me remember who he was, and then it's like, um, he was like, yeah, and remember we, we had got some food from such and such, that day, and we did it, and I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, well, I remember that, So I don't know if he'd been pining away all this time. Like I don't know what he was doing, but like I say, the women that these men lose, and some of them that they are probably going to just never even really get to meet and really get to know, is sad. And the sadness that's going to come, and the loneliness that's going to come, and the and even with that, even when it comes, what are you going to do? Just continue to be mad at women? Are you going to ever blame yourself? Are you going to ever blame the fact that, I've been listening to these guys, I've been listening to all this stuff, and I don't know what Fresh and Fit do when they get off the camera. You don't know if them guys believe that or not. You don't know if they are going home to a husband or wife in reality. You know what I'm saying? You don't know people's real, true life, especially when they're on social media. You know what I'm saying? So, what if you get to the end of it all? Or what if you finally get your big awakening moment and be like, what was it all for? I'm lonely. I would like a child. I would like a woman. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's sad because I don't think enough of them think about it in that way. It's like so many of them are just caught up in the moment right now. You know what I'm saying? And they're just talking, you know? So you guys, I'm gonna cut the video off. I'm gonna cut this video off, guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Hit the notifications. Um, hit the like button, please. Leave a comment, please. And you guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And until the next video, I'll see you next time.